A loner boy who loves playing video games, his life changes the day he gets his hands on an all-new VR game. But moments after going inside the game, he finds out there is no logout button. Yup, that is really happening. So in 2022, there is this super realistic online game called Sword Art Online, or SAO for short. It uses a fancy VR headset called the Nerve Gear, which lets players feel like they are actually in the game. When SAO is released, it sells out fast. One of the lucky players is a kid named Kirito. He puts on his nerve gear and jumps into the game. Kirito finds himself in a massive castle floating in the sky called AniCapped. He's in a town called Beginnings when he meets another player named Klein. Klein notices Kirito is an experienced beta tester and asks for some game tips. Kirito agrees to help him out. Under Kirito's guidance, Klein learns the ropes and fights his first monster, a boar. Klein is surprised that in the game, you don't feel pain. Kirito has played for a few months during the beta testing, but this time, he wants to reach a higher level in just 1 month. He feels more alive in SAO than in the real world. As Kirito and Klein continue to hang out in the game, they get hungry. Klein decides to bring some friends to meet Kirito, but he doesn't want to force Kirito into it. When Klein tries to log out, he can't find the logout button, and neither can Kirito. They are stuck in the game. Suddenly, a church bell rings, and they are teleported to a big arena with all the other players. A mysterious figure called the Game Master, Kayaba Akihiko, appears and says he controls the game. He removes the logout button on purpose, and if someone tries to remove their nerve gear, it fries their brain. Players don't believe him until he shows news articles about players dying. Kirito believes it is possible because the headset uses microwaves to access players' brains. But then, Abba delivers shocking news. He shows everyone articles about players who died when their friends and family tried to remove their headsets. As proof, he explains that there is no way to revive someone in the game anymore. If a player's health points reach 0, they die in real life. The only escape is to reach the 100th floor of AniCapped and defeat the final boss, but not even beta testers have made it that far. Then, Hiva announces that all players have received a gift from him. They find small handheld mirrors in their storage, and suddenly, their avatars turn into their real-life selves. Hiba reveals that he has achieved his goal of creating the world of Sword Art Online and controlling it. Kirito, a fan of Kayaba, knows everything he says is true. Players panic, and Kirito invites Klein to join him in becoming stronger to survive. Since resources are limited, they aim to reach the next village before others. Kirito knows the beta test paths well, but Klein wants to find his real-life friends. After thanking Kirito, they part ways. Eager to survive, Kirito roams through fields battling monsters. After a month, 2,000 players have died in the game, and the first floor remains uncleared. Kirito joins a player meeting led by a charismatic figure named Diabel in a small amphitheater. Diabel reveals that his party has found the rune where the floor boss lurks, and he seeks everyone's help to defeat it. The players listen and cheer, agreeing to join him. Diabel then suggests forming parties of 6. Kirito, who has only met Klein since entering the game, feels nervous. As everyone forms their parties, Kirito notices a hooded girl sitting alone. Approaching her, he asks her to join his party, and she agrees. Checking her stats, Kirito discovers her name is Asuna. Suddenly, a loud guy named Kippo bursts out, demanding that beta testers like Kirito apologize for their early advantage. A burly man named Eagle confronts Kibao, revealing that a guidebook with beta testers' knowledge is freely available in town. Kibao backs down, and Diabel continues his speech, sharing information about the boss, Ilfang the Kobold Lord. The boss fights with an axe and a buckler and has ruined Kobold Sentinels as guards. With their agreement to attack the boss, Diabel disbands the meeting. That night, while everyone socializes, Kirito finds Asuma eating bread in a quiet spot. He introduces himself and shares some cream to enhance the bread's taste. Asuma enjoys it but doesn't show it. The next day, led by Diabel, the players journey through the forest toward the boss room. Asuma is new to the party, and Kirito worries if she can handle the fight. Inside a tower, they confront the Kobold Lord, who summons 3 Kobold Sentinels. While most players battle the boss, Kirito and Asuna fight the Sentinels. Asuna displays great strength, defeating her foes alongside Kirito. However, the Kobold Lord changes attack patterns unexpectedly, reminiscent of the beta test. Diabel charges at the boss but falls before him, admitting he is a beta tester. He makes Kirito promise to help everyone defeat the boss before passing away. Inspired by Diabel's wish, Kirito and Asuna charge at the Kobold Lord together. During the fight, Asuna's hood comes off, revealing her as a beautiful orange-haired girl. Other players regain their courage and join the attack. Kirito and Asuna strike the final blow, killing the boss. The players celebrate their victory, and Kirito obtains the Code of Midnight as a reward. However, Kibao accuses Kirito of being a beta tester who let Diabell die. Kirito, with a laugh, proclaims beta testers as weak and himself as the strongest among them. The players accuse him of cheating. Wearing his new Code of Midnight, Kirito disbands his party and advises Asuna to join a guild with someone she trusts. 4 months later, Kirito reaches the 11th floor and enjoys a drink with a group of players he rescues. He claims to be at their level, though he is already level 40. Grateful for his help, the players invite Kirito to join their guild, the Moonlit Black Cats, led by a player named Kita. Kirito also teaches a shy girl named Saki how to fight, eager to assist the guild. Kirito agrees to join the Moonlit Black Cats, and they are all very happy about it. A month later, they defeat a big monster mantis on the 20th floor while admiring the moonlight. Kirito is proud of their accomplishment but feels guilty because he has been hiding his high level, which is 48, while the others are only at level 30. A few days later, Kirito sneaks out of his room and teleports to the 428th floor, where the top players are gathered. There, he encounters Klein and his guild. While Klein is happy to see him, Kirito remains his usual gloomy self and doesn't talk much before teleporting back to the 420th floor. Kirito receives a message from Kita, saying that Saki is missing. Concerned, Kirito uses a skill to track her footprints and finds Saki Corolla under a bridge. When she sees Kirito, she runs away, feeling depressed because they can't escape the game. Kirito comforts her, assuring her that their guild is strong and that he will protect her. Saki is relieved and starts crying, knowing that they will complete the game. That night, Saki visits Kirito in his room because she can't sleep. Kirito lets her sleep in his bed and vows to protect everyone. A month later, when the guild has enough money, Kita leaves to find a house for everyone. While they wait for him, the rest of the guild decides to go to the 27th floor to hunt. They find a hidden door with a treasure chest inside. Kirito tries to warn them not to open it, but it's too late. The chest turns out to be a trap, and a horde of goblins and stone golems appear. Teleportation crystals stop working, and despite their efforts, everyone except Kirito and Saiki ends up dying due to the overwhelming numbers. In the end, Avalon strikes down Saki, killing her. Before she dies, she smiles and says something to Kirito. 6 months later, Kirito reaches the 49th floor, and an information broker informs him about an event boss named Nicholas the Renegade set to appear on the 35th floor on Christmas Eve. Kirito is interested in defeating Nicholas because of a rumor that the boss drops an item that can revive the dead. However, he knows he can't do it alone. Kirito feels responsible for the deaths of the Moonlit Black Cats, who died while he was away. Upon arriving at the 35th floor, Kirito finds the spot where Nicholas is supposed to spawn. Suddenly, Klein and his guild teleport near him. Klein admits that he has been following Kirito and advises him not to risk his life for a rumor. Kirito is asked to join a group called the Guild to defeat a guy named Nicholas, but he says he wants to take on Nicholas alone. Just then, another girl appears, following a guy named Klein. It turns out the guild is known as the Holy Dragon Alliance, and they really want a rare item. Kirito is told to go find Nicholas while his guild keeps the Holy Dragons busy. Kirito runs off and eventually finds Nicholas, who looks like a strange Santa Claus. After a tough fight, Kirito defeats Nicholas, but he's feeling pretty down. He learns that the revival item he was after is real, but it can only be used within 10 seconds of someone dying. Since Kirito doesn't need it, he decides to use it to keep going in the game. His friend Klein encourages him to keep fighting, but Kirito walks away. Back in his room, Kirito receives a gift from someone named Saki. Inside is a message from her, recorded before she knew she'd die. Saki tells Kirito not to blame himself and confesses that she saw his true strength one night. She wants him to survive and uncover why they are stuck in the game. 2 months later, up on the 35th floor, a group of gamers has a heated argument about a forest. Among them is a fiery red-haired woman named Rosalia. She decides to make fun of a girl named Silica, calling her useless, which eventually leads Silica to leave the party. As Silica ventures alone, she finds herself facing a formidable group of monkey-like monsters. Thankfully, she has a lizard companion named Peanut who can provide some healing. However, tragedy strikes when these monkeys kill Peanut, leaving Silica with very low health. Suddenly, a hero named Kirito appears on the scene. He swiftly defeats the menacing monkeys and saves Silica. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Silica sheds tears as she examines a feather left behind by her fallen companion, Pina. It is then that Kirito reveals something astonishing. Pina's heart can be revived on the 47th floor in a place called the Hill of Memories, where a special flower has the power to bring back a companion. Silica feels a glimmer of hope, but Kirito informs her that this revival is only possible within 3 days of a companion's death, and her current strength doesn't allow her to reach that floor. Touched by Silica's plight, Kirito not only gifts her powerful armor, but also offers to accompany her on this challenging journey. Grateful and curious, Silica wonders why Kirito is going to such great lengths to help her. Kirito's reply is heartwarming. Silica reminds him of his little sister. This response brings laughter to Silica's lips. Upon arriving in a nearby town, Silica encounters her former party members but chooses not to rejoin them. Rosalia, however, continues to mock her and doubts that Paina can be revived. Kirito, ever the defender, stands up for Silica. While they stop at a tavern, Kirito shares a deeper insight with Silica. He explains that some players in MMOs undergo significant personality changes, even adopting villainous roles. He points out that regular players have green indicators above their heads, while those who turn to crime are marked with orange indicators. The most sinister players, who have taken another player's life, display red indicators. Kirito expresses his anger towards such murderous players, especially in a game like Sword Art Online where lives hang in the balance. Hearing this, Silica begins to realize that Kirito is a genuinely good person and finds herself starting to fall for him. That night, Kirito pays Silica a visit in her room to share more details about the 47th floor. However, he notices someone eavesdropping on their conversation. He rushes out into the hallway to catch the intruder, but is too late. The following day, Kirito and Silica teleport to the 47th floor, known as the Flower Garden. Silica can't help but feel embarrassed as she notices many players there are couples. As they make their way towards the Hill of Memories, they are suddenly ambushed by a carnivorous plant. Although Silica panics initially, she soon discovers her hidden talent as a skilled swordswoman. As they continue their journey, the two friends encounter various monstrous challenges and gain experience along the way. Kirito, while traveling with Silica, shares a personal story about his so-called sister, who is actually his cousin. They have grown up together, and when Kirito was just 8 years old, their strict grandfather made them attend a kendo dojo. After 2 years, Kirito decides to quit, which leads to his grandfather mistreating him. However, when Kirito's sister promises to make up for his absence, their grandfather stops the abuse. Despite her efforts, Kirito always feels guilty, suspecting that she might secretly resent him. Silica, offering her comforting words, believes that Kirito's sister wouldn't work so hard if she didn't care about him. Eventually, the two of them reach the summit of a hill with a pedestal, atop which a single white flower blooms. They pick the flower with the hope of reviving Peanut, Silica's beloved companion. On their way back, they notice Rosalia has been following them all along. Rosalia, the leader of a guild known as Titan's Hand, reveals herself and demands the flower. It turns out that Kirito, their acquaintance, knows that Rosalia's guild uses members with green indicators to locate targets and then leads them to orange indicator members who would rob them. Silica had unwittingly been part of the guild as Rosalia was searching for potential victims. 10 days ago, Titan's Hand had attacked another guild, the Silver Flags, resulting in the death of Gabriel and the guild's leader. Desperate for revenge, the Silver Flags leader had sought help from random players and tried to have Rosalia arrested. Kirito, hearing of this, takes it upon himself to confront Rosalia. However, Rosalia remains unapologetic, arguing that there is no real-life consequence for killing someone in the game. Rosalia summons 7 accomplices to attack Kirito, despite his fame as the Black Swordsman, a solo player of high renown. They fight relentlessly but can't harm him because of his level 78 and his powerful auto-regeneration skill. Kirito then reveals his intention to teleport them all to prison using a teleportation crystal, disregarding Rosalia's warning that his indicator would turn orange if he did so. Back at the tavern, Kirito apologizes to Silica for involving her in the situation but assures her that he still believes he is a good person. Before parting ways and returning to the front lines, he expresses his desire for them to become friends in the real world. Silica agrees, feeling grateful for having met Kirito. With their newfound friendship, Silica successfully revives her cherished companion, Peanut. Unfortunately, this is where the story for today comes to an end. To know what happened next, comment down below and we'll surely bring it to you soon.